The story begins at Domino High School, where Yugimoto teaches his friend Joey Wheeler how to play Duel Monsters while friends Tristan Taylor and T. Gardner watch. Joey gets jealous at how Yugi casually pulls out a powerful card. Yugi explains that his grandfather owns a game shop where he gets all of his good cards. He even mentioned how his grandfather has a super rare card. His classmate Seto Kaiba overhears their conversation, suspecting it might be the card he's been searching for. After school, Yugi and his friends arrive at his grandfather's shop. After much convincing, Grandpa Solomon agrees to show them his rare card, the all-powerful Blue Eyes White Dragon. Grandpa Solomon explains that there were only 4 copies made of the card. Out of nowhere, Kaiba entered the shop and was shocked to find it was the exact card he was looking for. He immediately opens his briefcase and offers to exchange all his cards for it, and even offers to pay whatever amount he wants for it. Grandpa Solomon refused his offer, claiming that it was given to him by a dear friend. Later that day, Kaiba was informed by his men that they acquired the remaining 3 cards. Kaiba's henchmen showed up at the shop the next day, forcing Grandpa Solomon to a duel. Yugi later receives a call from Kaiba claiming that they have his grandfather. When they arrived, they found him on the floor after a devastating defeat from Kaiba. Grandpa Solomon explains that he wanted to teach Kaiba the heart of the cards, but he failed to win against him. Kaiba shows up confident after his win and rips out Grandpa Solomon's copy of the Blue Eyes White Dragon. He claims that since he can only bring 3 copies to a deck, he refuses to let the 4th copy be used against him. Grandpa Solomon later entrusted his deck to his grandson and begged Yugi to beat Kaiba with it. Yugi challenges Kaiba to a duel, but not before Taya draws a smiley face on the back of everyone's hands to serve as their symbol of friendship. Before the duel started, Yugi changed into Yami Yugi, a mature version of himself, which was his dual personality within the Millennium Puzzle he had worn on his neck. The duel started well for Yugi until Kaiba pulled out and summoned 2 Blue Eyes White Dragon cards. Yugi activated the Swords of Revealing Light spell card, preventing Kaiba's monsters from attacking for 3 turns. Although it was a desperate move for Yugi, he eventually found hope when he realized he had already collected 4 cards of the almighty monster Exodia, which required gathering all 5 parts of the card, which was considered a feat that, to this day, no one has ever accomplished. It was Yugi's last turn as the spell card's effect was about to be lifted. Realizing the low chance of drawing the final piece of the Exodia card, Yugi felt the pressure and became anxious. After being reminded that he was not alone in this duel when he sees the symbol on the back of his hand, Yugi musters up the courage to pull the last draw, which turns out to be the missing final piece to summon Exodia, immediately defeating Kaiba's Blue Eyes White Dragon cards and winning the duel. Joey gets used to playing duel monsters at school by playing with his friends, which is with Taya Gardner this time. Although Joey played well, considering he was a newbie at the game, Taya still won the duel. Joey asks Yugi for advice, so Yugi asks to show him his deck. It turns out that Joey's only placed attack monster cards, to which Yugi suggested he add spell and trap cards to give him more strategies in battle. Yugi suggests he train with Grandpa Solomon, to which he agrees, but cautions that the training will be grueling. Days later, Yugi and his friends are watching the Duel Monsters National Championship, where 200 duelists have gone against each other to become number 1. It is the tournament finals, and 14-year-old Weevil Underwood, specializing in insect monsters, going against 15-year-old Rex Raptor, specializing in dinosaur monster cards. Toward the end of the duel, Rex finally pulls out his strongest monster card, but Weevil immediately activates the trap card he has set. Weevil then summons Basic Insect and equips it with Laser Cannon, drastically increasing its attack to destroy Rex's monster card and win the duel. Having won the tournament, Pegasus Crawford appears before everyone, the genius creator of duel monsters, to present the tournament trophy to Weevil, who then invites him to his upcoming Duelist Kingdom tournament. Grandpa Solomon enters the room and claims that Yugi has a package from Industrial Illusions. Yugi opens the box to find a dueling gauntlet, 2 star chips, and a VHS tape. When he played the tape on the VCR, Pegasus appeared on TV to everyone's surprise. He claims to have heard of Yugi's victory against Kaiba and insists on challenging him to a duel. Suddenly, Pegasus uses his Millennium Eye, where Yugi finds himself in a dark space while everyone else is frozen in time. Yugi immediately realized they were in a shadow game where his Millennium Puzzle flashed, and he changed into Yami Yugi. Pegasus explains they will be playing for 15 minutes, and whoever has more life points towards the end will win the duel. Pegasus starts the duel with a face-down card. When it's Yugi's turn, Pegasus claims that Yugi won't win the duel with the dragon card he's about to use. Yugi is shocked at how Pegasus predicted his move. Pegasus claims to know every move Yugi will make before he does. When Yugi used the Komori Dragon card, Pegasus immediately activated his trap card, Dragon Capture Jar. To steal Yugi's monster, Pegasus summoned Dragon Piper, which summoned Yugi's Komori Dragon back onto the battlefield. Irked by having his moves predicted, Yugi was about to play the Zombie Warrior card. He realized that Pegasus could see his cards using the Millennium Eye, so instead he decided to gamble by playing the card he drew without looking at it. Pegasus activates his trap card, Sun Shower, as he's expecting a zombie-type monster card, but nothing happens. Yugi's gamble pays off, and Yugi reveals the face-down card as Dark Magician, to which he destroys the Komori Dragon. Pegasus then summons the illusionist Faceless Mage with the spell card Eye of Illusion, which grants Pegasus control of Dark Magician. With time running out, Pegasus thought he already had won the duel. Still, Yugi tries for a comeback and plays Summon Skull to attack illusionist Faceless Mage. Still, time ran out before it could attack, and Pegasus wins the duel. Having won the duel, Pegasus claims he no longer has a choice but to enter his tournament. When Yugi refuses, Pegasus uses his Millennium Eye to capture Grandpa Solomon's soul. Time is no longer frozen, and Yugi reverts to his old self, where he sees his grandfather on the TV screen calling out to him, while his lifeless body falls unconscious. The next day, Yugi gets an invitation from Pegasus to a tournament on the island. When Yugi explains that the winner will win a vast amount of money, Joey gets excited at the prospect of winning the tournament. After school, Yugi finds Joey alone on the roof, where they reminisce about how they became friends. Back then, Yugi was so timid in class that Joey and Tristan used to bully him. Yugi brought the Millennium Puzzle that his grandfather gave him, which was said to be found in some Egyptian ruins. While assembling it, Joey was irked by Yugi that he grabbed one of the puzzle pieces and threw it into a river. A school bully pretended to help Yugi by beating up Joey and Tristan, but was just trying to extort money from Yugi. When Yugi stood up against the bully, he got beat up himself. Seeing Yugi stand up for him, Joey felt so guilty that he spent the entire night looking for the puzzle piece he threw away. After the incident, they became best friends and have been inseparable ever since then. When the time came for the ship headed to the Duelist Kingdom was about to leave, Yugi found Joey trying to sneak on board. Yugi gave Joey one of his star chips so he could enter the tournament. Taya and Tristan also sneaked aboard, hiding inside the ship's cargo. During the trip, Yugi and Joey meet Mai Valentine, who claims to have known of Yugi after he defeated Kaiba. She claims that she will beat everyone, including Yugi and Kaiba. Later, Joey makes a stir over how they're forced to stay in a shared room with the rest of the duelists. Rex and Weevil show up and claim that only top placers at the tournament get private rooms. Before they left, Weevil points out how convenient it is, as most duelists have already gone on to trade cards, and that this would be an excellent chance to strengthen their decks. Rex later runs into Mai, who also complains about sharing a room with others. Rex offers Mai to stay with him, clearly enticed by her beauty. Mai then tricks Rex into dueling her for the room, to which she immediately kicks him out when she beats him. Weevil later finds Yugi and tricks him into letting him see the all-powerful Exodia cards that he used to beat Kaiba with. He claims that he spent countless hours thinking of how to beat it when he could have just tossed them overboard, which he did. Joey quickly jumped into the water but only managed to get 2 of the cards. Yugi jumps in to help Joey, who struggles to swim against the strong current. Tristan and Taya throw a rope ladder and tell them to climb aboard. Joey is very upset that he couldn't save Yugi's cards. He explains how helpless he is yet again, like he couldn't help his younger sister Serenity. He explains his sister is sick and will eventually go blind, so he wants to win the prize money to pay for the operation to fix her eyesight. The fairy finally arrives at the Duelist Kingdom, where Pegasus himself announces that many strange secrets on the island will make his ultimate tournament unlike any they ever have. He explains that everyone was provided with a duelist glove and 2 star chips to begin. The wristband then had 10 holes where they can insert star chips, and only duelists who have gathered 10 star chips will be allowed entry into the castle gates. He informs them that the entire island will be the dueling battleground, and they're given 48 hours to acquire their star chips or be forced off the island. With that said, Yugi claims that he intends to duel with Weevil first, who lures them into the forest. Weevil then challenges Yugi to a duel when a duel ring suddenly appears from the ground. Yugi accepts and changes into Yami Yugi. Weevil summons Killer Needle while Yugi plays Mammoth Graveyard when everyone thought that Yugi's monster would win the battle, given that his monster had higher attack points than Weevil's. It turns out that it was Mammoth Graveyard that was destroyed. Weevil reveals that one of Pegasus's new rules was the application of a field effect bonus. Given that they're in the forest, Weevil's insects monsters gain additional attack and defense bonuses. When Weevil thought he had Yugi tricked, Yugi laughs and claims he already knew about the field effect bonus. Weevil claims there are still more rules and continues the duel by playing Hercules Beetle. Yugi fights back by summoning Feral Imp and combines it with the spell horn of the unicorn, granting the monster an additional attack point. Confident that Yugi has higher attack points, he orders Feral Imp to attack Hercules Beetle. Still, instead of destroying its opponents, Yugi's monster gets destroyed. Weevil explains that monsters with the field effect bonus get immunity from magic besides the bonus points, which rendered Yugi's enhancement spell card useless, and died because it had lower attack points. Yugi plays the defensive and put his monsters in the defensive position. Weevil, on the other hand, uses this opportunity to fill his field with insect monsters. When he finally has 5 monsters on the field, Weevil attacks Yugi's monster, to which he then activates the trap card Mirror Force, returning the attack to the opponent's monsters, destroying all of Weevil's monsters. After the last attack, Yugi's now in the lead against Weevil, who lost all of his monsters. Weevil claims he still has a trump card and will win once he plays it. Weevil pretends to play a weak monster to taunt Yugi into attacking him, but Yugi's wary of the trap card that Weevil said earlier. With that said, Yugi uses a monster recovery spell card to call back all monsters on his field and summons the weakest card in his hand, Karibo, which activates Weevil's trap card. Weevil suddenly bursts out into laughter, revealing the face-down card he had played earlier, Larvae Moth, and combining it with Cocoon of Evolution, he explains that it will transform into the ultimate Great Moth in 5 turns. Yugi worries that the Great Moth will be unstoppable by then, so he summons Gaia, the Fierce Knight, to attack the cocoon. But its attack is ineffective against it. Yugi keeps at it and summons Curse of Dragon, then activates the spell Burning Land to destroy the field that returned the cocoon's defense to its original value. Yugi then uses Gaia Knight to attack the cocoon. When everyone thought Yugi had destroyed it, Weevil revealed it only stopped it from reaching its final stage and still managed to summon the Great Moth. Weevil then attacks Yugi's Gaia Knight, but thanks to Yugi's quick thinking, he uses the polymerization spell to combine his 2 monster cards into Gaia, the Dragon Champion. When Yugi thinks that he has leveled the playing field, Weevil laughs and explains that Great Moth releases pollens in the air that poisons its opponents and causes its attack points to drop. Yugi quickly uses the spell Makyu, the magical mist, to stop his monster's attack points from falling. Weevil attacks and destroys Gaia, the Dragon Champion. With only 50 life points left, everyone worries that Yugi is about to lose. Still, Yugi claims that Weevil has fallen for his trap, and that Gaia, the Dragon Champion, was only a distraction. Yugi reveals his trump card and plays Summon Skull. Weevil was relieved because his Great Moth had still higher attack points, but Yugi pointed out that he had played the spell Makyu earlier for a reason. Weevil later realized the spell had dampened his Great Moth, which in turn powered up Summon Skull's electrical attacks, drastically increasing its attack points. Yugi attacks and destroys the Great Moth, wiping out the rest of Weevil's life points. After a moving duel, Joey is also excited to find the first duel. When he looks out into the horizon, he is reminded of Serenity, his reason for participating in the Duelist Kingdom. Teo wondered what field would be best for Joey when they suddenly hear Mai's voice from a distance and went to check it out. Mai has now collected 4 star chips, but when she sees Yugi's group, she immediately challenges Joey to a duel, believing him to be the weaker duelist. She explains that as a duelist, she wanted to duel Yugi, but worries that if she did, she might run out of star chips, so she first goes after the weaker duelists. After much thinking, Joey accepts the duel. Joey starts by playing Misaki, the legendary swordsman. On the other hand, Mai claims that she will be playing her cards face down. This bothers Joey as to how she knew what to play. Mai starts out her turn by summoning Harpy Lady. Joey attacks her Harpy Lady with the legendary swordsman. But because Harpy Lady can fly, it is immune to physical attacks, which reduces the monster's attack points to its original and gets destroyed instead. Joey gets flustered at Mai's card tricks and continues making simple mistakes. While Joey goes on the defensive, Mai keeps upgrading her Harpy Lady with Cyber Shield, which increases its attack points, and Elegant Egotist, which turns her 1 Harpy Lady into 3. Seeing Joey struggle, Yugi gives him some advice and tells him, quote, "What can be seen but remains unseen." Joey tried to figure out what Yugi meant by closing his eyes, and he finally figures out how Mai's card trick worked. Joey explained that Mai sprayed her cards with different perfumes to know what card it was despite being face down. Joey loses hope as he doesn't stand a chance against 3 Harpy Ladies. Yugi helps him out again by pointing out Mai's fatal weakness. Although Mai's Harpy Lady may seem formidable, she had to use dozens of spell cards, suggesting it was her only monster in the deck. With that said, Joey luckily draws the Time Wizard card and uses it to transform the baby dragon he played earlier into the Thousand Dragon. Mai still feels confident as her Harpy Lady still has higher attack points, but when she looks at her monster again, it appears to have been affected by the Time Wizard too. Joey then destroys the Harpy Ladies, wiping out the rest of Mai's life points. Yugi and his friends are in a good mood after winning their first duels, but later grow hungry and realize they haven't brought any food for the trip. Tristan claims that his survival book will come in handy to help them find edible weeds and mushrooms to eat. Joey suddenly smells something cooking when they later find some fish that someone had left over a fire. Joey and Tristan eagerly dig in but are soon surprised by an unknown man climbing out of the sea. Yugi quickly recognized the man as Mako Tsunami, who placed 3rd in the tournament. When Mako learns who Yugi is, he suddenly changes his attitude and invites Yugi and his friends to eat the fish. When Yugi and his friends are about to leave, Mako quickly stops them and demands that Yugi duel him. Yugi quickly changes into Yami Yugi and accepts the duel. A duel ring suddenly shows up with Mako on the ocean field while Yugi is on the mountain field. Mako starts his turn by summoning a fiend kraken, but Yugi's shocked that the monster doesn't appear on the battlefield, and its details don't show on the screen. Yugi worries that he can't recklessly attack a monster with no idea how strong it is, so he decides to go on the defensive and summons a monster in defense position. Mako destroys Yugi's horn imp with the fiend kraken and ends his turn by summoning a jellyfish face down. Yugi takes the offensive this round and summons Feral Imp combined with Horn of the Unicorn to increase its attack. Yugi then attacks Mako's monster, but instead of destroying it, Mako reveals it to be a jellyfish that absorbed the electrical attack. Mako fights back and destroys Feral Imp with Fiend Kraken. Despite the disadvantageous ocean field, Yugi doesn't waver and keeps fighting back, playing Silver Fang and combining it with the Full Moon spell card to increase its attack. Mako claims he won't beat him with that weak monster and summons Kairyu Shin to destroy Silver Fang. In addition, Mako's attack caused a tidal wave, significantly reducing the mountain field, leaving enough space for only one monster for Yugi to summon. Mako wonders if Yugi has finally seen how scary the ocean is. He explains how he lost his father, a great fisherman, to the sea. One time while fishing, a massive tidal wave suddenly appeared and was about to hit them. His father had to tie him to the boat, worried he would die if thrown overboard. The ship eventually drifted back to shore, but his father was nowhere to be seen. Since then, it has always been his goal to become the greatest fisherman and to do so, he needs to buy a boat that can survive rough seas. After learning Mako's goals, Yugi faces him head-on and summons Giant Soldier of Stone in defense position. Mako uses this turn to gather another monster card and surround Yugi's monster. Yugi claims it was what he was waiting for and orders his monster to attack his spell card, Full Moon. The falling debris caused the tide to reverse and the water to recede, leaving Mako's monsters out in the open. He then finishes the duel by summoning Curse of Dragon and the spell card Burning Land to destroy Mako's monsters, wiping out the rest of his life points. A masked boy escapes from Pegasus's North Tower and into the forest, determined to find Yugi for unknown purposes. Meanwhile, Yugi and his friends run into a young kid who a guard is restraining. The guard asks them to stop interfering, given that the rule in the Duelist Kingdom is that anyone who has lost all of their star chips will be forced to leave the island. The kid explains that a thief stole his deck and star chips, but the guard insists it doesn't change anything. Yugi promises to find the thief and return his stuff before the boat leaves. Yugi returns to where it happened and explains that the criminal usually returns to the crime scene. Wasting no time, the thief shows up and challenges Yugi to a duel, to which he agrees and changes into Yami Yugi. It was later revealed that the masked boy was Mokuba, Kaiba's younger brother. After he lost to Yugi, Kaiba's grown impatient and lacking, constantly second-guessing himself to be weaker than Yugi. After much thinking, Kaiba quickly hands Mokuba the key to the storage facility which houses Kaiba's corporation's important documents. He explains that he will go on a journey and leaves the company in his hands. Mokuba starts by summoning a man-eating plant. Yugi plays Winged Dragon to destroy the man-eating plant and explains that he can't beat him, using stolen cards. After Mokuba revealed his identity, he then went on to blame Yugi for his brother's disappearance. He claims that because of it, Pegasus is now trying to take over Kaiba Corporation. Mokuba reveals that Pegasus spread the news of him defeating his brother worldwide. Because of this, most of their investors have lost trust in the company, and business has plummeted. He overheard Pegasus asking the Big Five to transfer their shares to him to buy out Kaiba Corporation. They agreed to his offer under the condition that he would defeat Yugi, the man responsible for destroying the company's reputation. They also asked him to get the key to the storage facility entrusted to Mokuba, hence why Pegasus forcibly brought him to the island. When Mokuba insists on continuing the duel, Yugi destroys his monster again. Mokuba claims he's doing this to protect the company in his brother's stead. Teo wondered if Yugi had his star chips stolen, then it would mean that he technically didn't lose a dueling, invalidating Pegasus' deal with the Big Five. After hearing that, Mokuba quickly sneaks behind Yugi's platform and steals his star chips. Yugi calls out to Mokuba and explains that it is not the way to save his company. Yugi convinces him to trust him and promises that he will defeat Pegasus. They quickly return to the port, but were a second too late as the boat had already left. Taya claims they should still have a minute left, but the guard claims it doesn't matter. Mokuba tried to return the kid's deck and his star chips, but the guard tossed them into the ocean and grabs Mokuba. He explains that losing their star chips is a disgrace to being a duelist. Furious, Yugi challenges the guard to a duel, but the guard explains that he doesn't duel and will find a more suitable opponent. Somewhere, Kaiba has holed up in a cabin working on a new system that allows him to duel anyone, anytime, and anywhere. Suddenly, Pegasus's men kick the door down and hold Kaiba at gunpoint. Kaiba kicks a chair at them and jumps into a window where he supposedly falls to his death. Meanwhile, Yugi and the others return to the duel ring to find Mokuba and the guard and discover that Yugi's opponent is Kaiba. To save Mokuba, Yami Yugi must duel a person claiming to be Kaiba's ghost. The guard claims this is only the first of several assassins that the Industrial Illusions has sent to defeat him. Ghost Kaiba starts the duel by summoning Hitotsu Mi Giant, to which Yugi is sure that Kaiba has the same monster in his deck. Unsure that if it is Kaiba's deck, Yugi plays Dark Magician and destroys Hitotsu Mi Giant. Yugi strongly believes that Kaiba is still alive, but is later left speechless when Ghost Kaiba summons a Blue Eyes White Dragon. Knowing that only Kaiba should have a copy of the Blue Eyes White Dragon card, Yugi and the others think it might genuinely be Kaiba's deck. Ghost Kaiba claims to know that Yugi no longer has Exodia and wonders if he can still beat Kaiba's deck without it. Yugi goes on the defensive, wary of Ghost Kaiba's face-down card, and summons Curse of Dragon in defense position. Ghost Kaiba quickly activates his trap card Defense Paralysis to force Yugi's monsters into attack position. Blue Eyes White Dragon destroys Curse of Dragon and damages Yugi's life points. Yugi has no monsters strong enough to take out Blue Eyes, so he decides to stall for time and plays the spell card Magical Hats to hide his Dark Magician in one of the 4 hats. Meanwhile, the real Kaiba is revealed to have survived his dangerous fall into the ocean and sneaks back into one of his secret labs. With the help of an interactive AI, he was able to catch up with the present events. He's learned that the board of directors met with Pegasus of Industrial Illusions and discovered that the Big Five had made a deal with Pegasus to sell their shares of Kaiba Corporation to him if he manages to defeat Yugi Moto. Having been informed that Yugi no longer has the mighty Exodia card, Kaiba worries that Pegasus may beat Yugi and take over his company. Determined to save his company, Kaiba plans on hacking Pegasus's computer mainframe by taking over one of his Industrial Illusion satellites. Although he manages to track him down to the Duelist Kingdom, he cannot proceed further as the system's firewall is stonewalling him. When he finally breaks through the firewall, Kaiba discovers that Yugi's battle data is stored inside a castle wall. Ghost Kaiba is forced to attack one of the magical hats, but instead of destroying Dark Magician, he activates the trap card Spellbinding Circle, which decreases the attack of Blue Eyes White Dragon, allowing Yugi to destroy it with his Dark Magician. When they thought Yugi was leading, Ghost Kaiba summons another Blue Eyes White Dragon to destroy his Dark Magician. Yugi's placed in a tight spot as he no longer has any monsters strong enough to destroy Blue Eyes, so he instead goes on the defensive and summons Feral Imp. Back at the Kaiba Manor, Kaiba's finally succeeded in finding Yugi's duel booth and realizes that Yugi is about to lose. He quickly orders the AI to hack into the system and inject Blue Eyes with a virus which slowly decreases its attack points. Unfortunately, the system froze and Blue Eyes still had enough attack points to damage Yugi directly. When it was about to attack, Kaiba called out to Yugi, which Blue Eyes also heard. It stops its attack and destroys itself, much to everyone else's shock. Yugi claims to have heard Kaiba's voice and believes he's still alive. Ghost Kaiba goes frantic, unable to figure out what just happened. He later reveals himself as the Mimic of Doom, and claims to have been sent by Industrial Illusions to beat Yugi. Mimic of Doom claims he still has one more Blue Eyes in his deck and stalls for time by playing monster cards in the defense position. Yugi prepares to counterattack by summoning Mystical Elf and combines it with the Spell Book of Secret Arts to increase its attack. Meanwhile, Mimic of Doom finally draws the last Blue Eyes and quickly summons it onto the field. Unfortunately, Kaiba could no longer interfere with the battle as Pegasus sent his men to Kaiba Manor to apprehend him. When Blue Eyes attacked Mystical Elf, Yugi activated his trap card, Mirror Force, to reflect its attack. Mimic of Doom anticipated his trap card and activated his spell card, Negate Attack, to cancel the effects of the trap card. When they thought all hope was lost, Yugi plays Monster Reborn and brings Blue Eyes White Dragon back from the graveyard. In addition, Yugi activates Mystical Elf's card effect to transfer its attack to Blue Eyes, totaling 4,100 attack points. Yugi then destroys Mimic of Doom's Blue Eyes, wiping out the rest of his life points. Although Yugi defeated Mimic of Doom, they later realized that Mokuba and the guard had disappeared. The end. Thanks so much for watching. Please don't forget to like and subscribe, hit that notification bell, and we'll see you in the next video.